वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। So we are at Lord Nrisimhadev appearing his Nakam Adbhuta Shringam Lalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringam. So we are witnessing this beautiful form of Nrisimhadev appearing. I have a few pictures to share of Lord Nrisimhadev. They are so gorgeous. I have a few more. It's right here. This one, it's a kind of an AI image of Nrisimhadev. Okay. Okay, now we can begin. You can do the screen sharing.
So we just finished yesterday with reading how Nrisimhadeva finally appears, and he basically tears Hiranyakashipu to pieces. As a result, everybody's jubilant. Of course, now the soldiers also get killed upon attacking Nrisimhadeva. Everybody else, all the echelons of the nobility of the universe, all the devas, are very much inspired, so they're celebrating. And here we see a description by Narada Muni of what's happening. Tatro Pavrajja Vibhuda Brahmendra Girishadaya Rishaya Pitara Siddha Vidyadara Mahoragaham Anava Prajanam Patayo Andarvapsara Charana Yakshakim Purushastata Vitala Sahakinara Vishnu Parshada Sarve Sunanda Kumudadaya Murdni Bhadhanjali Puta Asinam Tivratejasam Idire Narasa Sharvilam Natiruda Chara Pratak. My dear King Yudhisthira, the demigods then approached the Lord. They were headed by Lord Brahma, King Indra, and Lord Shiva, and included great saintly persons and the residents of Pitraloka, Siddhaloka, Vidyadharaloka, and the planets of the snakes. The Manus approached, and so did the chiefs of various other planets. The angelic dangers approached, as did the Gandharvas, the Charanas, the Yakshas, the inhabitants of Kinnaraloka, the Vetalas, the inhabitants of Kimpurushaloka, and the personal servants of Vishnu, like Sunanda and Kumuda. All of them came near the Lord, who glowed with intense light. They individually offered their obeisances and prayers, their hands folded at their heads. So here we see this section of prayers by all the devatas, one after another.
You need any help?
I hear Facebook is saying sharing, but doesn't share. Just share one screen. It doesn't change the screen.
We'll figure it out later for tomorrow.
Oh. Hmm. Let me see 1 minute. Okay. Ibrahimo Bacha Natusminanta Duranta Shaktaye Vichitraviryaya Pavitra Karmane Vishwasya Sargastiti Samya Mangunai Solilaya Sandadati Vyayatmane. Lord Brahma prayed, my Lord, you are unlimited and you possess unending potencies. No one can estimate or calculate your prowess and wonderful influence, for your actions are never polluted by the material energy. Through the material qualities, you very easily create the universe, contain it, and again annihilate it. Yet, you remain the same without deterioration. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The activities of the Lord are always wonderful. His personal servants Jai and Vijay were confidential friends, yet they were cursed and they accepted bodies of demons. Again, in the family of one such demon, Ramaraj was caused to take birth to exhibit the behavior of an exalted devotee. And then the Lord accepted the body of Nrisimhadeva to kill that same demon, who by the Lord's own will had taken birth in a demoniac family. Therefore, who can understand the Lord's transcendental activities? And to speak of understanding the transcendental activities of the Lord, no one can understand even the activities of his servants. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 23:39, it is said, Tandra Bhakya Kriya Mudra Vigyeha Nabu Jaya. No one can understand the activities of the Lord's servants.
You're not sharing screen.
No one can understand the activities of the Lord's servants. Therefore, what to speak of the activities of the Lord? Who can understand how Krishna is benefiting the entire world? The Lord is addressed as Duranta Shakti because no one can understand his potencies and how he acts. Rudravāca Kopa Kalo Yugantasti Hatuyama Surolpaka Tatsutam Payupashritam Bhaktam Te Bhaktavatsala. Lord Shiva said, the end of the millennium is the time for your anger. Now that this insignificant demon Hiranyakashipu has been killed, O my Lord, who are naturally affectionate to your devotee, kindly protect his son, Prahlad Maharaj, who is standing nearby as your fully surrendered devotee. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, the Supreme Personality of God is the creator of the material world. There are three processes in creation, namely creation, maintenance, and finally annihilation. During the period of annihilation, at the end of each millennium, the Lord becomes angry, and the part of anger is played by Lord Shiva, who is therefore called Rudra. When the Lord appeared in great anger to kill Hiranyakashipu, everyone was extremely afraid of the Lord's attitude. But Lord Shiva, knowing very well that the Lord's anger is also his Leela, was not afraid. Lord Shiva knew that he would have to play the part of anger for the Lord. Kala means Lord Shiva, Bhairava. And Kopa refers to the Lord's anger. These words combined together as Kopa Kala refer to the end of each millennium. Actually, the Lord is always affectionate over his devotees, even though he may appear very angry. Because he is Avyayatma, because he never falls down. Even when angry, the Lord is affectionate over his devotee. Therefore, Lord Shiva reminded the Lord to act like an affectionate father toward Prahlad Maharaj, who was standing by the Lord's side as an exalted, fully surrendered devotee. Shri Indravacha Prayanita Paramabhavata Trayatanasva Nasva Bhaga Daitakraman Daityakrantam Hridaya Kamalam Tagriham Pratyabodhi Kalagrastam Kiyadidam Aunata Shushushatam Mehte Muktistisham Nahi Bahu Mata Narasimha Paraikim. King Indra said, O Supreme Lord, you are our deliverer and protector. Our shares of sacrifices, which are actually yours, have been recovered from the demon by you. Because the demoniac king Hiranyakashipu was most fearsome, our hearts, which are your permanent abode, were all overtaken by him. Now, by your presence, the gloom and darkness in our hearts has been dissipated. O Lord, for those who always engage in your service, which is more exalted than liberation, all material opulence is insignificant. They do not even care for liberation. Not to speak of the benefits of Kama, Artha, and Dharma. In this material world, there are two kinds of people, the Devatas, demigods, and the Asuras, demons. Although the demigods are attached to material enjoyment, they are devotees of the Lord who act according to the rules and regulations of the Vedic injunctions. During the reign of Hiranyakashipu, everyone was disturbed in the routine duties of Vedic civilization. When Hiranyakashipu was killed, all the demigods who had always been disturbed by Hiranyakashipu felt relief in their general way of life. Because the government, Kali Yuga, is full of demons, the living condition are always disturbed. Devotees cannot perform yagya, and thus they cannot partake of the remnants of food offered in yagya for the worship of Lord Vishnu. The hearts of the demigods are always filled with fear of the demons, and therefore they cannot think of the Supreme Personality of God. The engagements of the demigods is to think of the engagement of demigods is to think of the Lord always within the course of the hearts. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Yognam api sarvisham madgatina antaratmana pradamam bhajate yomam samayukta tamomata. And of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshiping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. The demigods fully absorb themselves in meditation upon the Supreme Personality of God to become perfect yogis. because of the presence of demons, their hearts are filled with the activities of the demons. Thus, the hearts, which are meant to be the abode of the Supreme Lord, are practically occupied by the demons. All the demigods felt relieved when Hiranyakashipu was dead, for they could easily think of the Lord. They could then receive the results of sacrifice and become happy even though in the material world. Shirishaya Chu Amnastapa Paramamata Yadatma Teju Yenedama Vibhurushat Agatam Sasarka Tadvipraluptamamada Amunadya Sharanyapala Raksha Grihita Vapusha Ambamamstha. All the saintly persons present offer their prayers in this way. O Lord, O Supreme Maintainer of those sheltered at your lotus feet, O original personality of Godhead, process of austerity and penance, which you instructed us before, is the spiritual power of your very self. It's by austerity you create the material world, which lies dormant within you. This austerity was almost stopped by the activities of this demon. But now, by yourself appearing in the form of Nrisimhadeva, which is meant just to give us protection, and by killing this demon, you have again approved the process of austerity. Purple, the living entities wandering within the jurisdiction of the 84 lakh species of life get the opportunity for self-realization in the human form, and gradually in such other elevated forms as those of the demigods. Kinnaras and charanas, as will be described below. In the higher statuses of life, beginning from human life, the main duty is tapasya, or austerity. As Nrisimhadeva advised the son, tapo divyam putrakayena sattvam shuddhyet. To rectify our material existence, austerity, tapasya, is absolutely necessary. However, people in general come under the control of a demon or a demoniac ruling power. They forget this process of tapasya and gradually also become demonic. All the saintly persons were generally engaged in austerity, but really when Hiranyakashipu was killed by the Lord in the form of Nrisimhadeva, they realized that the original instruction concerning human life, that it is meant for tapasya, for self-realization, was reaffirmed by the Lord when he killed Hiranyakashipu. So one thing we notice in these 4 initial prayers is that everybody prays and sees the Lord and glorifies the Lord through the lenses of their occupation, their interests, their identity. So Brahma talks about creation. Shiva talks about destruction and anger. Kala, Kopa. That's what he does. Indra speaks about fear. How somehow he couldn't think of the Lord. He could just think of fear he felt for Hiranyakashipu. It's like Hiranyakashipu took his heart. We see Shiva fearing different, even the yogis, who he thinks they may take his position. And here, the sages, the rishis, they speak about austerity because that's what they do. They don't create the universe, or there is not predominantly, or don't destroy the universe. These are rishis. So what they do is do austerity. So they talk about austerity in their prayers. They say, this austerity is a spiritual power or your very self. Atma Teja. In other words, Krishna gave them austerity through which they can advance in their path. So they're appreciating that. Sri Pitara Uchu. See, they also speak about their own business. Shadhani no Dibu Buje Prasabham Tanu Jair Dattani Tirtha Samaye Pi Apibati Lambu. Asyodaranna Kavidirna Vapan Archat Tasmai Namo Nriharaye Kila Dharma Goptre. The inhabitants of Pitriloka prayed, let us offer our respectful obeisance unto Lord Nrisimhadeva, the maintainer of the religious principles of the universe. He has killed Hiranyakashipu, the demon who by force enjoyed all the offerings of the Shraddha ceremonies performed by our sons and grandsons on the anniversaries of our death, and who drank the water with sesame seeds offered in holy places of pilgrimage. By killing these demons, O Lord, you have taken back all this stolen property from his abdomen by piercing it with your nails. We therefore wish to offer our respectful obeisances unto you. It is the duty of all householders to offer food grains to all their departed forefathers. But during the time of Hiranyakashipu, this process was stopped. No one would offer Shraddha, oblations of food grains to the forefathers with great respect. Thus, when there is a demoniac rule, everything concerning the Vedic principle is turned upside down. All the religious ceremonies of yajna are stopped. The resources meant to be spent for yajna are taken away by the demoniac government. Everything becomes chaotic, and consequently the entire world becomes hell itself. When the demons are killed by the presence of Nrisimhadeva, everyone feels comfortable, irrespective of the planet upon which he lives. So, this P3 speaks about how they were not getting Shraddha, which is very serious for them. If they don't get Shraddha, they become Yamadutas. Yamadutas are those who were in Pitriloka, but somehow their descendants stopped doing their offering oblations, so they, at the end of their credits, they become Yamaduta. They got just into horrible people externally. They're still in the administration of the universe. They serve Yamaraj, as we could see in the sixth canto. They know philosophy, but the Yamadutas, they all deal with the really dirty work in one sense. Not dirty. I mean, it's dharmic, but dirty in the sense they go and catch and punish and torture the criminals. Okay, let's see the Siddha. Shri Siddha Uchu Yono Gatim Yoga Siddham Asadur Aharshid Yoga Tapubalena Anadar Pamtam Nara Nakahir Vidadara Tasmaitubhyam Pranatasmo Nishinga. The inhabitants of Siddhaloka prayed, "Oh Lord Nrisimhadeva, because we belong to Siddhaloka, we automatically achieve perfection in all 8 kinds of mystic power. Yet, Hiranyakashipu was so dishonest that by the strength of his power and austerity, he took away our powers. Thus he became very proud of his mystic strength. Now, because this rogue has been killed by your nails, we offer our respectful obeisance to you." Purple. On earth, there are many yogis who can exhibit some feeble mystic power by manufacturing pieces of gold like magic. But the inhabitants of the planet Siddhaloka are actually extremely powerful in mysticism. They can fly from one planet to another without airplanes. It's called Lagima Siddhi. They can actually become very light and fly in the sky. By a severe type of austerity, however, Hiranyakashipu excelled all the inhabitants of Siddhaloka and created disturbances for them. The residents of Siddhaloka were also beaten by the powers of Hiranyakashipu. Now that Hiranyakashipu had been killed by the Lord, the inhabitants of Siddhaloka also felt relieved. So we see how killing Hiranyakashipu was beneficial for everyone, and how his reign, how his rule was affecting negatively everyone. Next, Sri Vidyadhara Uchu Vidyam Pritapdaranaya Nuradham Nyashiradhag Yuvarvirya Dripto Sayena Sankhe Pashuvat Datastam Maya Darshango Pranata Smanitya. The inhabitants of Vidyadhara Loka prayed, or acquired power to appear and disappear in various ways according to varieties of meditation was banned by that foolish Hiranyakashipu because of his pride, his superior bodily strength, and in his ability to conquer others. Now the Supreme Personality of Godhead has killed him just as if the demon were an animal. And to that supreme pastime form of Lord Nrisimhadeva, we eternally offer our respectful obeisances. Srinaga Uchu Yena Papena Ratnani Stri Ratnani Aritani Naha Tadvaksha Patanena Sam Dattananda Namostute. The inhabitants of Nagaloka said, the most sinful Hiranyakashipu took away all the jewels on our hoods and all our beautiful wives. Now, since his chest has been pierced by your nails, you are the source of pleasure to our wives. Thus, we together offer our respectful obeisances unto you. No one is peaceful if his wealth and wife are forcibly taken away. All the inhabitants of Nagaloka, which is situated below the earthly planetary system, were in great anxiety because their wealth has been stolen and their wives kidnapped by Hiranyakashipu. Now, Hiranyakashipu having been killed, their wealth and wives were returned. Their wives felt satisfied. Inhabitants of various lokas or planets offered the respectful obeisance to the Lord because they were relieved by the death of Hiranyakashipu. Disturbance similar to those created by Hiranyakashipu are now taking place all over the world because of demonic governments. As stated in the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the men of the governments of Kali Yuga would be no better than rogues and plunderers. Thus, the populace would be harassed on one side by scarcity of food and on another by heavy taxation by the government. In other words, the people, most part of the world in this age, are harassed by the ruling principles of Hiranyakashipu. So you can see how two dynamics here. One, how Srila Prabhupada relates, compares the Hiranyakashipu's ruling of the universe to nowadays situations when it says, thus the populace will be harassed on one side by the scarcity of food and on another by heavy taxation by the government. We see how many poor countries, due to war or famine or drought, people actually are starving. They don't find enough food. And the organizations who are trying to help, they can't reach everybody. like we see in Gaza right now. The people are struggling even to get water. And we see how many thousands of Africans from poor countries try to get to Europe somehow with a very excruciatingly difficult trip that goes through different African countries. They had to bribe so many people. Then finally, they had to get some boats. Many are killed by drowning in the sea. So people are in a very, very difficult condition. And the climate, because of climate changes, the production of food diminishes, and so people have to leave their place. They can't just survive anymore. And plus, those who don't have enough money, they are harassed by heavy taxation by the government. Government wastes a lot of money. I've been seeing the headlines of news from Italy, for instance, and in 2026 something, there's or 2025. In a few years, there will be the Winter Olympics in Italy. Milano and Cortina will share. And there was a debate, should they construct or reconstruct the the sled, it's called bobsled, which takes a very, very complex type of building for these bobsleds to go. And it's a sport that, almost nobody practices. Who practices sled, I'm not sure how you call it in English, but sled, and they have to have this very, very, very special racing arrangements. It's not like a field. Okay, you make a football, you put some grass, you make a football, you put some cement, you make volleyball, or you make basketball. This is a very complex thing for a proper sport which hardly anybody practices. And so they were discussing, should we do it in the next country because they have one working one, or should we build it? And just by going there, just by this discussion, they spent so much money just to research what's more feasible. And that's the money of the people. And it gets wasted. And sometimes people, and even in Italy, which is considered one of the G7 country, meaning the 7 most industrialized countries, there are a lot of people who go hungry. I was reading also how the place where they give food, now there are many, many, many more people going there. Many more. Before, few people, just people were poor, like always poor, with homeless people just go there. But now even kind of normal people find hard, many normal people find hard to feed themselves, while so much money is wasted in things which are really not benefiting people. Like they make huge plans, like they make just many years they're discussing building a bridge between Italian peninsula and Sicily. And just I don't remember the data, but it was a huge amount of millions of euros already spent just to research, just to see preliminary designs, options, millions and millions and millions and millions of euros. And there's nothing. There is nothing. And who knows? Maybe next government doesn't want to do it anymore. All that is completely wasted. And people go and queue to get a hot meal for free. Anyway, so this is one comparison. And the other thing, as we could see, everybody's talking about their own interests. That's about they were reestablished, recovered, rescued. Here, the Nagas. The Nagas are not devotional generally. We see in the 5th canto, they're not devotional. In fact, at one point, Sudarshan comes down and kills everybody. But somehow even them, they're somehow grateful to God because, oh, God gave us our wives and they gave us our jewels. So we see in this prayers, we are now at the 6th, 7th prayer, there are different levels of consciousness. And these Nagas only basically pray that they're just happy that, okay, we got back our wives, we got back our jewels. So, and you say, you are the source of all pleasure to our wives. See, the consciousness is not very, very, very broad. That's all. You are the source of all pleasure to our wives. And we therefore, Nama Astute, Namostute. Therefore, we offer respectful obeisances, but it's very materialistic kind of. Others have offer much more subtle, much more broad. Brahma was talking about creation, she was talking about the whole destruction, the anger, and so on. And these nagas, the snakes, are only happy, okay, they got their pleasures back. So let's see the next.
I can read.
So you want to share?
No.
Why?
Because 7, 8, 48. Okay, I can.
Should I stop sharing?
श्रीमन उवाच मनवो वयं तव निदेशोकारिणो दिदीजेन देव परिभूतचेतवः भवता कलह स उपासंहृत प्रभो करावामा ते किम अनुसाधि किंकरान्. All the Manus offered their prayers as follows. As your order carriers, O Lord, we, the Manus, are the lawgivers for human society. But because of the temporary supremacy of this great demon Hiranyakashipu, our laws for maintaining Varnashram Dharma were destroyed. O Lord, now that you have killed this great demon, we are in our normal condition. Kindly order us, your eternal servants, what to do now. Purport. In many places in Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Lord Krishna refers to the Varnashram Dharma of 4 Varnas and 4 Ashrams. He teaches people about this Varnashram Dharma so that all of human society can live peacefully by observing the principles for the 4 social divisions and 4 spiritual divisions, Varna and Ashrama, and thus make advancement in spiritual knowledge. The Manus compiled the Manu Samhita. The word Samhita means Vedic knowledge, and Manu indicates that this knowledge is given by Manu. The Manus are sometimes incarnations of the Supreme Lord and sometimes empowered living entities. Formerly, many long years ago, Lord Krishna instructed the Sun God. The Manus are generally sons of the Sun God. Therefore, while speaking to Arjuna about the importance of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said, Imam vivashvate yogam proktavanaham avyayam Vivaswan Manave Praha. This instruction was given to Vivaswan, the sun god, who in turn instructed his son Manu. Manu gave the law known as Manu Samhita, which is full of directions based on Varna and Ashrama concerning how to live as a human being. These are very scientific ways of life, but under the rule of demons like Hiranyakashipu, human society breaks all these systems of law and order and gradually becomes lower and lower. Thus, there's no peace in the world. The conclusion is that If we want real peace and order in the human society, we must follow the principles laid by the Manu Samhita and confirmed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I want to comment anything about this. I'm not sure I understand this, the relevance of this verse.
But the Manus are the lawgivers.
Mm.
They rule for 300 million years each. And obviously, when they were ruling, when Hiranyakashipu was ruling, all the principles of civilization, the principles of Varnashram were suspended, or were mortified, were destroyed, at least in their original form. So now that Hiranyakashipu is dead, now the Manu say we are in a normal condition. Kindly order us, the eternal servants, what to do now. So what's not clear?
And also the Naga people, I can't understand. I thought they were more spiritual than that.
Well, there are different snakes in the world, but the Naga of Nagaloka, they are demoniac. They live there is a chapter in 5th canto, the subterranean heavenly planets. They live in the heavenly planets, but it's subterranean. And there is no light. The sun of the light doesn't go there. They are light because of their jewels on their head, but they're demonic. So somehow they have this mixed karma that they enjoy. It's called Bila Swarga, like the lower Swarga lokas, and subterranean. So they have this karma. They're demons, but they have good karma to at least enjoy. Huh?
How can demoniac and heaven come together in the same?
Heaven means simply enjoying. They have so many people in this world that they may be very demoniac, but they have personal jets, they have many sports cars, they have a lot of money, they have yachts, all this, say they have these Russian oligarchs that they somehow, when the communism stopped in Russia, they captured all the oils and all the gas, so they're super billionaires. And they have yachts, they have personal ships, and what to speak of many other people who are rich, either by family, like some Arab sultan, by family, just they're born there, they have tons of money, or by business, like this Elon Musk or this Amazon guy, and so on. So they obviously live very opulent lives. They have personal jets, they have personal helicopters. They don't live like the common human being. If they have to go somewhere, they don't have to be stuck into traffic or go by train or even go by flight, commercial flight. They don't fly commercial. They never go, not check in and this, that. They have their own personal jet. The managers arrange everything and they fly wherever they want. So in one sense, they're like demigods in this earth. So the prince, but are they spiritual? Are they devotional? No. I mean, so
wealth can be gotten by not like wealth or like this kind of opulence of say this Nagaloka people, even without doing religious activities or faith-based things, one can still achieve some sort of a
well, they might have done something. They might have done something which brought them to this condition. Not sure exactly what kind of path they followed, but they must have followed something. Just like the demons we see, just by obeying Shukracharya, they get stronger than the devas when devas offend their guru Brihaspati. So there are many subtle laws of nature. It's not that demons all suffer and devas are always opulent or in charge. That's it's not that because somebody's because this is their world. This is their planets, and if they follow some dharma, may not be devotional dharma. It's like Hiranyakashipu, how he became the Lord of the universe, basically. How? By austerities. It's not, he didn't go to Mangalarti, he didn't chant japa, he didn't do anything devotional. But the world is constructed, the cosmos is constructed so that people can actually acquire power also not through devotion. Like many yogis, they have no interest in devotion, but they have powers. Why? Because they no, they're just like they have these chakras and kundalinis and all that. So they follow those laws of the universe, and they become powerful, but not necessarily devotional.
So to become a demigod or say becoming Indra, one doesn't need to be a devotee.
Well, Indra is a devotee, so we're talking about Nagas, we're talking about, but Indra is said something like, it is said something like if somebody follows 100 lifetimes, Varnashram, then it can become Brahma, things like that. But Varnashram generally includes, okay, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari. You get to Brahmachari, you go, you study the Vedas. What the Brahmachari does? Study the Vedas. So the Vedas are the breath of the Lord. Now, even like imagine Lord Chaitanya when he was here in Mayapur, he was not known as a devotee. He was known more as a logician, right? He only after taking initiation, he started acting and being known as a devotee. The Sankirtan before still, no, he had the deity, he had Akshaja Vishnu at home. They were doing worship, They may not have, I mean, at least he was not known as a devotee. He was more into grammar and poetry and logic and this and that. But still, as a civilized the Brahmana, there was some devotion in what they were doing. So the Vedas, that's why Krishna says the Vedas is Traigunya Vishaya Veda. The Veda talks about the gunas. So some people follow the Vedas in a completely materialistic way, and still they get the benefits. In other words, there is difference between hell. Hell is for people who are sinful. And then Swarga and other people may not be sinful, meaning they don't break the rules of Varnashram, okay? They don't sleep with somebody's wife, they don't eat meat, or if they eat meat, they offer it to Kali or whatever. So they follow the rules of Shastra, so they advance. And there are mystic personalities who are not devotional, but they have a lot of mystic power. Now, exactly what one has to do to become a Naga, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what kind of Vedic paths they're following to become a Naga. That I'm not sure.
Okay, this is very, I don't know, not new, but it's very interesting how people, but it's not permanent, right? That's the point.
Nothing is permanent, not even becoming Brahma.
But okay, this is the last question on this topic. They don't know, like Nagas and all, they have mystic powers and they have all this power. So they don't know that the goal of life should be Krishna consciousness or God.
Who?
Like these Nagas or other devatas who are not in the path of devotional life, they are doing other things to maintain their position. I mean, I feel like, are we in, because we meaning we who knows Lord Chaitanya, Prabhupada, and with the way we read Gita and Bhagavata, I don't know, momentarily I feel superior to these Nagas and Devatas and all who don't have this goal of going back to Godhead or chanting Hare Krishna and surrendering to the Lord. I feel superior. Is that?
Well, it doesn't take much to be superior to the Nagas. I mean, obviously, see, superior, inferior, it's a question of perspective. It's like, is it better to become the prime minister in Slovenia, or is it better to be a beggar in Vrindavan? Obviously, you could say he's a beggar in Vrindavan. You know, it may be very, very uncomfortable. And when it's hot, when it's cold, and so on, and maybe not eat every day. But still, he's in Vrindavan, and in a few years he dies, he goes back to Krishna. Okay? And the prime minister of Slovenia may have a lot of power and facilities and this and that and secretaries, but you know that will stop in 4 or 5 years, 10 years, it will finish. They won't vote him anymore, or he will die. So it's everything is relative. So from the devotional perspective, yes, of course, every devotee is higher than the Naga, is higher even of Indra. We see that the devotees, the story of the sixth canto, when at the end King Indra kills Vritrasura,
Yeah.
the Bhagavatam gives very clearly the point that actually Indra is the loser, because Vritrasura goes back home, back to Godhead, and Indra remains with his own fears, with his own problems, with his own administration, with his own, you know, paltry pleasures of Svargaloka. So yes, obviously, I think the body is higher in one sense that than many demigods, non-devoted demigods. See, when you were asking, I was thinking, sometimes there is a formal acceptance, like these Nagas. They come and, okay, Nrisimhadeva gave them back the wives, gave them back the jewels. Now they can enjoy again. I don't know how they were managing without the jewels. Everything was dark. I don't know. Obviously, great anxiety without wives and so on. Okay, so now Nrisimhadeva, not because of them, but because of Prahlad, somehow, because, I mean, I don't think Nrisimhadeva could care less about the Nagas, in one sense, obviously, but because Prahlad Maharaj, no, Satyam Vidhatu Nija Bhritya Bhashitam. So he appears, he saves Prahlad. He saves Prahlad, meaning Prahlad was okay, but I'm just saying he saves the situation, he kills Hiranyakashipu, and these are all corollary, concomitant, one sense, secondary benefits that everybody gets. So, okay, so now they come there, they did a little prayer. Oh, thank you very much. Okay, bye. But they're still not, I mean, as far as at least, I mean, there may be different type of nagas, but generally they're not devotees. It's like I was thinking in Italy that many people are still Catholic nominally. And so what does it mean? Okay, there is maybe Christmas, maybe Easter, they go to church. There's a funeral, they go to church. There's a marriage, there's a wedding, they go to church. But they don't really care about Christianity. Like you asked, don't they know that the goal of life is? They know, they heard. They heard that they may even have begun to catechism, they may even be trained as children. They know that Jesus said, don't accumulate anything in this world because everything gets rotten, go accumulate treasures in heaven. And they know all these things. They heard, but they don't really care. They don't live like that. They just live very simple, ordinary, and materialistic lives. But occasionally, yes, okay, there's a funeral, they go, okay, you know, okay, they go in the church, they're very respectful. There's a wedding, okay, they're nominal Christians. Of course, there are also more serious Christians, but many people are nominal Christians. So they go, okay, they want some blessing, they unite these two people, they don't want just to do it legally. So they unite these two people, they want some blessing from the Lord, they want somehow to be a religious marriage. So there is being conscious of something doesn't mean that they live according to that. Like if you ask the Buddhist country, like in Myanmar, they know what Buddha said, detachment, this, that. But then, or non-violence. No, they say, Ahimsa Paramadharma. They know, I'm sure every single citizen of Burma heard that 100 times. But then they were very violent with this Rohingya people. They just basically throw them in the sea. They had to escape. They just to escape. So they don't know. The Buddha said non-violence. They know, but they don't care. They have other priorities.
Other priorities. That's what I don't understand. How can somebody have other priorities if what does it take? Is it intelligence? Is it that we are taking up consciousness because we are so desperate as humans and so powerless and we don't know what is enjoyment and therefore we are choosing Krishna consciousness? Is that kind of enjoyment so bewildering? Is it so intoxicating?
The point is that the default setting is to be under the gunas.
Yes.
That's the default setting. Tribir gunamair bhavair ebi sarvam idam jagat. Krishna says, Tribir gunamair bhavair ebi sarvam idam jagat. The whole jagat is under the gunas. So that's the default system. Just like in a prison house, the default setting is you are in jail. You're a prisoner. Okay? So, and what does it mean? We know tamas, we know rajas, but even sattva, people may not care about God or devotion. They may just be happy. Like some people may just enjoy reading books, reading the classics, and they enjoy. They feel happy. Just very, very what you call. They are not so agitated by the senses or by greed. They don't care about money or so. So those who are pious, they may just focus on holy scriptures. Others, they may just focus on Shakespeare and things like that, which have some morality, but it's not like for building Krishna prema. So why? Because we are under the gunas, and to go beyond the gunas, you got to surrender to Krishna. You need to have a guru. You need to follow the guru. So the fact that people have a calendar with Krishna stealing butter doesn't mean they are devotees that they pray like they ate the Damodara every day. So okay, they have a calendar with Krishna stealing butter. So yeah, okay. So okay, 1 point, but to get to they need 1 million point to get to Krishna prema. So like that. So that 1 point is not enough. It's just like you have some credit in Amazon. Maybe you got 300 rupees credit. It's not enough to buy an iPhone. You may say, no, but I have a credit. Yeah, but you have 300 rupees credit. You cannot just ask for an iPhone. Okay.
Okay. Anyway, it's bewildering for me. It's very bewildering that you can know everything and still not want the permanent disposition and you're still wasting time.
Because it's a question of faith. It's a question of how much faith. You heard it, but how much faith you have. If you live with materialistic people, then they have faith in something else. They have other interests. So if you're constantly absorbed in associating, and by associating not only personally, but watching the movies of the karmis, reading the articles of the karmi, seeing the sports of the karmis, seeing, of course, there's no devotional sports, but I'm just saying, all that you put in the mind is karmi. It may not be like sinful in the sense, okay, I eat meat or something, but it's all selfish. It's all nationalism and all these kind of dreams, nightmares and dreams that the karmis have. We are the body, and so just go through any newspaper that talk only about the body and bodily consciousness and this and that. And some of these people are very intelligent. They make very deep analysis, historical, political, but what? They don't know anything. They just know the body.
Amazing. Actually,
so they may have heard. They all have heard about Jesus, about this and that, but they don't care really.
Actually, this makes me feel more fortunate to be connected to parampara and to have this sangha of devotees who are prioritizing Krishna bhakti over other things, it makes me realize how rare that is actually. Because even great demigods or great nagas and other heavenly beings may not even have this priority we have. We are struggling, no wonder, no doubt. We're struggling with senses, we're struggling with mind, we're struggling with karmic stuff. They may not be struggling, they are enjoying. But still, what's the use of the enjoyment if it's not like used for Krishna conscious purpose? Like I was thinking, they sing so well, like, Gandharvas and all. They can sing so well, or they can dance so well. They may make amazing garlands and stuff. But if their goal is not to please Krishna, some Siddhir Haritoshanam, if it's not to please the Lord, then what's the point? And then I'm realizing, wow, well, what kind of amazing movement Prabhupada has given us. Because even though we are stuck with our own senses and mind and little problems of our life, we still have that focus that we want to go back to Godhead, and that's our goal. And these people have every facility with these people or these higher beings. They may the higher lifestyle, higher beings. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have a higher goal, actually. And
Yeah, of course.
Amazing. I didn't think of it like that, honestly. I somehow thought, I don't know. I didn't think we were superior because we are connected to Mahaprabhu's movement in this way.
Well, it's like, somebody goes by car, somebody goes by bicycle, somebody goes by aircraft, somebody goes by rocket. Obviously, the person may be the same, but, if you are on a rocket or on a very fast airplane, you go faster than anybody else. So by the Lord's mercy, by the Lord Chaitanya's mercy, we know secrets that nobody knows.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because we are better, we're just more blessed.
I like that. Not necessarily because we are better, but we are, yes. That's true, because it's not really so much, yeah, it's not like we are greater. We are, yeah. It's not that I made some great decision and therefore it's just causeless mercy of the Guru. True. Okay. We have Rajeshwar, Radhika, and Kushbu. If any of you likes to read, please welcome.
I can read, Mother. Okay.
Go ahead, Kushbu.
Okay. I read the Sanskrit shlok, or you will read, because my pronunciation is not good.
I'll do Sanskrit and then you can do the English.
Thank you.
Shri Prajapatayu Uchuhu Prajesha vayam te parashabhishrishta nayena praja vai shrujamo nisiddhaha sa esha tvaya bhinna vaksho nusete jagan mangalam sattvamurte avataraha.
Translation. The Prajapatis offered their prayers as follows. O Supreme Lord, Lord of even Brahma and Shiva, we, the Prajapatis, were created by you to execute your orders, but we were forbidden by Hiranyakashipu to create any more good progeny. Now the demon is lying dead before us, his chest pierced by you. Let us therefore offer our respectful obeisances unto you, whose incarnation in this form of pure goodness is meant for the welfare of the entire universe.
Jai Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki jai.
Okay.
Shri Gandharu Vauchuhu Vayam Vibhote Natanatya Gayaka Yenat Masad Virya Balojasa Krita स एष नीतो भवता दशामि मां किम् किम् उत्पतास्तः कुशलाय कल्पते.
Translation. The inhabitants of Gandharvaloka prayed, Your Lordship, we ever engage in your service by dancing and singing in dramatic performances. But this Hiranyakashipu, by the influence of his bodily strength and valor, brought us under his subjugation. Now he has been brought to this low condition by your Lordship. What benefit can result from the activities of such an upstart as Hiranyakashipu? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. By being a very obedient servant of the Supreme Lord, one becomes extremely powerful in bodily strength, influence, and effulgence, whereas the fate of demonic upstarts is ultimately to fall down like Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu and persons like him may be very powerful for some time, but the obedient servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like the demigods, remain powerful always. They are victorious over the influence of Hiranyakashipu by the grace of the Supreme Lord.
What, Ray, what is point here? One becomes extremely powerful in bodily strength, influence, and effulgence. Is that literal?
Yes, but depending for how long and depending if he has not been obedient, say somebody has got a very bad karma, has got a body full of weakness, full of diseases. It's not just because, okay, now it takes initiation, now it becomes a supermodel or what do you call those people who go to gym? The bodybuilder, right? But the principle, yeah, according to the karma, definitely a devotee has more bodily strength if he follows the principles. If he gets up just by getting up in the morning and taking bath, one becomes more effulgent. This is the oja. It's just almost it's a physiological thing, and obviously the devotee becomes influent. If you're just a normal materialistic guy who works 9 to 5, nobody cares who are you, who what do you think. Even in your family, nobody cares what you think. But when you're a devotee, you become influential. You start talking, some people will listen. You become so now, depending, obviously, not at all at the same time or in the same degree of powerful and bodily strength, influence, and effulgence. It's like I remember when I was in the hospital last year for COVID. The first thing, almost at every analysis, at every time, they ask you, "Are you smoking?" No, I didn't smoke, so obviously that helped. I still got COVID, but I never smoked in my life like people who smoke regularly and so on. I never smoked in my life, so definitely probably that helped. So if a devotee just follows the regulative principles and doesn't eat meat, doesn't get all those bad things that they put into the meat and so on, certainly it increases bodily strength and effulgence as a person and also as influence. Now, that's not the goal, but it just happened. You see, somebody was a drug addict, all dark, all suicidal, then he becomes a brahmachari. He becomes all shaved up, very shiny, very smiling. He chants in the Harinam, jumps up and down. That's also bodily strength. He would not jump up and down like that before. Is that clear?
Yeah, I guess. I'm just wondering why Prabhupada is bringing that up.
Because it's true. He saw that. He writes in the Krishna book, like that when these devotees are all shaved up and with the traditional clothing and all that, then they look like they come from Vaikuntha. And he said very often he said how a priest, I don't know if it was a Jewish priest or Catholic or Christian priest, met him on some airport. He said, "Hey, your disciples, they look so bright-faced." He mentioned many times that thing. I mean, I can check how many times, but he said many times, and he was happy because it's a fact. When they were hippies, they were not bright-faced. See, bright-faced, I have here in Wikipedia 40 times. So definitely a devotee who follows the one, especially if he was of course, if he was a materialist before, you can see the difference before and after. Before was full of anxiety, full of sadness, full of depression, full of confusion, full of addictions, gross addictions. And then when he becomes a devotee, he becomes much more bright-faced. Why bright-faced? Because the mind is bright. If the mind is bright, the face is bright. So if somebody follows Dharma, the body obviously also improves. Obviously, somebody who doesn't smoke, doesn't drink, doesn't make drugs, this and that definitely has got more bodily strength. So it's kind of, I mean, a simple point, no?
Yeah, I think this is very hopeful. That even though the materialistic people may appear upstart, the upstart of their fate, and it may look like, wow, Hiranyakashipu is dominating all the demigods and all the planets. He's tying them to his throne and everything. It seems like he's winning, right? But then it's only going to, the downfall is coming. So similarly, when we see some people also very bossy, very aggressive, getting their way all the time, etc., it's like hopeful to read this and look at these pastimes and see that, well, it's going to come to an end. The only thing that will remain high is the mission of the Lord, because the demigods are ultimately part of the mission of the Lord, right? I mean, that's my understanding.
Can you repeat? Sorry, I got distracted. What you were saying? Because you said right, but
can we say that demigods are part of the Lord's mission?
yeah, part of the see, there are different levels of the Lord mission. The Devas, like here the Gandharvas, okay, they come, you can see many times the Lord appears, they come and dance, fine. But I mean, can we say, so are they part of the mission in the sense that they dedicated their lives to the mission of the Lord? Or they're just, in a devotion, somehow in a devotional culture environment, they like to sing, they like to dance, and therefore they sing and dance devotional things. The mission of the Lord, like you say, okay, even the creation of the world is the mission of the Lord. But so Daksha also was part of the mission of the Lord to populate the universe, but obviously he was not really so devotional. And he lost his head, he got the Godhead, and he had to wait 5-6 manvantaras to get back to kind of normal. So yeah, but it's not like somebody would dedicate his life, okay, like Narada Muni. Narada Muni also sings and it goes around, but Narada Muni preaches pure bhakti. The Gandharvas, at least we don't see that. Yeah, when there's an opportunity, they come and dance and sing they are, as you can see here, they identify themselves as servants of the Lord. But I don't know what they do all day, frankly. Narada Muni, we know what he's doing all day, just preaching. So yeah, or Indra is part of the mission of the Lord. Yeah, we need rains, obviously. We need a king in heaven, but can we call him a missionary? I don't know about that. There are different aspects of the mission of the Lord. Somebody may just be part of the administrative aspect of the universe and just formally, maybe with some formal devotion. Like we see in the sixth canto when the devotees were totally disturbed, defeated, actually, more than disturbed, defeated by Vritasura. They offer so many prayers, and finally the Lord comes, and then he tells them how to defeat Vritasura, but he also said, look, you called me, you asked me to kill a demon, you could have asked for pure devotional service. He told them like that. So there are religious people, they are God conscious, because Vishnu comes, and Vishnu doesn't go everywhere. So they pray, they know Vishnu, they see Vishnu face to face, but okay, Vishnu, please, how we can get rid of this demon? And he said, look, you could have asked for devotion, instead you're just asking that. So when we say God consciousness, the mission of the Lord, there are different angles or different levels, different shades, different degrees of intensity.
Pushpo has hand up.
What is it?
I just want to ask that, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, is this means like being obedient servant of Lord is not just like getting up in the morning, just doing Mangala Aarti and chanting and just reading? Because in the other line, God, it's also mentioned an obedient servant of God, like demigods, are always remain powerful. That means if there is, if we are doing and following all these things, but if there is no, like it's written like no cheto darpana marjanam, if there is no cleansing of heart, and if we are not devoted to Lord, and if we don't develop the love of for God, so there's a difference between, I think,
I didn't catch
obedience
that.
service following and developing the love for God. If we are not able to develop the love for God, then it's just waste, I think. Is just correct me if I'm wrong.
So you're saying, I'm trying to understand your question. So you're saying that if we don't develop love of God, to go Mongol go to chant, it's a waste? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's just not a waste. It's a difference between like obedient servant. The first line is saying no obedient servant like Hiranyakashipu, fall down. But like
So
demigods, and what is the
what is
difference
your question?
between?
Huh?
No, my question is not this. This is what I understood. Uh, like this means that if there is no devotion, that would differentiate a devotee and a demigod, and like the person who is following all the rules. Like what makes a devotee more
Generally, as a general, of course, there are many demigods, many people living in Swarga and so on. So some they are very elevated. When like some appear in the planet when Krishna appears in the planet. So some of the gopis, for instance, they were wives of the devatas, and they become gopis. So we cannot just make a blank statement. But generally, as a very generalization, the devatas are mixed devotees. They are devotees, meaning, yeah, they accept Vishnu supreme, they follow and so on, but they're also attached to their life of opulence, their life of sense gratification, and so on. Okay, so that's like the general rule. Then, of course, like Devarshi, Narada is a rishi among the devas. He is not mixed, he is pure. Now, if you talk about us, I'm not 100% sure about the comparison. Everybody is different. Now, Rupa Goswami, Srila Prabhupada explained that there is Vaidhi Bhakti, in which one does things like you say, Mongol Aarti, follow the principle, chanting your rounds, and so on, offering the food, all the things that devotees do, it does out of duty, meaning the Shastra says so, the Guru says so, I do. Now, some people do with more enthusiasm. Some people do with more absorption. Some people, they do maybe more like a routine thing. Some people, maybe they sit in Mongol art, meaning they are in Mongol art and they're really absorbed and beautiful in the song, in the meaning, and they really look with love to the deities. And some people, maybe their mind is somewhere else. One devotee, he was in Australia, he told us once he was doing pujari work, and sometime while doing artik to the deities, he was thinking of changing the wheels of his car. Not the wheels, not the thing, the metal thing that's in the middle of the wheels, the thing, because he wanted a fancy one. He kind of humbly was saying he's offering artik, but he's thinking of that. Not always obvious. So everybody's in their own space. I'm not sure if this gives any information or any look. In other words, it's an embryonic love. It's embryonic love, meaning, okay, obedience, it's the first step. Okay, I accept the Lord, and I work according to what the Lord wants me to do. Just like Krishna says, Mamana bhavama bhakto madhyaji manamaskuru. These are like 4 levels. Mamana, it's the highest. One thinks of Krishna. Just he likes to think of Krishna. Mamana, just he thinks of Krishna, like the gopis, Nanda Maharaj. They don't have to say, oh, it's 4:30, we have to think of Krishna now. No, they just think of Krishna all day, all night. Bhava ma bhakto. That's more formal. Become my devotee. So, okay, accept devotional principle, chant this mantra. For us, is my mantra. For somebody else, maybe Om Namo Narayana. Okay, take the mantras, do this puja, do this, do that. Okay. If Mamana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyaji, worship me. That could be even a little more formal. Okay, you worship God, you know it's God, you go to the temple, you worship God. No, Manamaskuru. In one sense, it's even less, meaning, okay, you don't even do the practical worship, but Namaskuru, you offer, at least you offer obeisance. Namaskuru, you offer, you accept mentally that there is a supreme God, and I'm a servant, and he's supreme, I'm not. So, but maybe we can't just jump to Mamana Bhava Bhakto, meaning we cannot jump to Manmana, being absorbed. So the gurus, the acharyas, they give us a system. Okay, you want to develop love for God? Get up in the morning, go to see the Lord, chant Hare Krishna, 16 rounds at least, read the books, and so on. Is that in line with what you're asking? Is
Yes,
that
yes.
helpful?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
We have only 5 minutes left. If any other comments or questions, or should we?
What is there? How big is the next verse? Well, we read the 50, right? We read the Gandharvas, the Charana. Charana is very small. Should I read?
Yeah.
Shri Charana Uchu Hare Tavangri Pankajam Bhava Pavargam Ashrita Yadesha Sadurichayas Tvaya Sura Samapita. The inhabitants of the Charana planet said, "Oh Lord, because you have destroyed the demons Hiranyakashipu, who was always a stake in the hearts of all honest men, we are now relieved, and we eternally take shelter of your lotus feet, which award the conditioned soul liberation from materialistic contamination." Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada, Supreme Personality of God, in his transcendental form of Narahari Nrisimhadeva, is always ready to kill the demons who always create disturbances in the mind of honest devotees. To spread the Krishna conscious movement, devotees have to face many dangers and impediments all over the world. But a faithful servant who preaches with great devotion to the Lord must know that Lord Nrisimhadeva is always his protector. Now the Yakshas, another group which they're not famous for their devotion, but here they join up. Shiyaksha Uchuhu, Vayamanuchara Mukhya Karma Viste Manogyais Tahi Hadipti Sute Na Prapitavaha Katvam Satujana Paritapam Tatkritam Janatate Narahara Upanitam Panchatam Panchavimsa. This is very similar to the meter of Jayati Jananivaso Devaki Janmavado. Starts with a number of short syllable. Vayamanuchara Mukhya. Vayamanuchara Mukhya Karma Viste Manogyas. Okay. The inhabitants of Yaksha Loka prayed, O controller of the 24 elements, we are considered the best servants of your lordship because of serving pleasing to you. Yet we engage as palanquin carriers by the order of Hiranyakashipu, the son of deity. O Lord, in the form of Nrisimhadeva, you know how these demons gave trouble to everyone. But now you have killed him, and his body is mixing with the 5 material elements. Purpose Srila Prabhupada, the Supreme Lord is the controller of the 10 senses, the 5 material senses, the 5 sense objects, the mind, the intelligence, the false ego, and the soul. The 4 is addressed as Panchavimsha, the 25th element. The inhabitants of the Yaksha planet are supposed to be the best of all servants, but Hiranyakashipu engaged them as palanquin carriers. The entire universe was in trouble because Hiranyakashipu, but now the Hiranyakashipu body was mixing with the 5 material elements, earth, water, fire, air, and sky. Everyone felt relief. Upon Hiranyakashipu's death, the Yakshas were reinstated in the original service of the Supreme Personality of God, and thus they felt obliged to the Lord and offered their prayers. So it seems here, I mean, the Yakshas is famous for like magic. You know, magic means chemistry, means knowing how to manipulate the elements. So they see the situation from the point of view. First of all, they see the Lord as they call him Panchavimsha, or 25th principle, the controller of other 24th element. And so they see from that perspective that somehow Hiranyakashipu was controlling the elements, controlling them, but now it's just melting back into the elements. So it's interesting how they see through this kind of elemental point of view. Okay, any final comment or statement by anybody?
I know. Again, I have the same question. I don't know why I'm not satisfied with all the answers you gave. How come all these Gandharvas and the Charanas and the Nagas and all these personalities, why they don't want to go back to Godhead and just be part of Vaikuntha? Why they are...
I mean, it's not. I don't know each of them. First of all, we are talking about entire races of people, and I don't know exactly. The Bhagavatam doesn't talk much about these people. I mean, Gandharvas, Charna doesn't say much about these people. But okay, when the Lord comes, okay, they throw flowers and things like that. But it's not like a very central, because the Bhakta doesn't go for races. those pieces. He goes for examples of pure bhakti. And so you may have a great pure bhakta like that's Satyavrata, who does the Matsya avatar comes, or you have the Narada Muni, and then you have all the great devotees of different avatars, Prahlad Maharaj, and so on. So these are not, this is not really races. Like Prahlad was a Daitya. He's a son of Hiranyakashipu. You can't get more demoniac by birth, in one sense. So, but still, the Bhagavatam doesn't really care. Hanuman is not even a human being, but he's glorified. So the gopis, they're just village girls. You'll never hear about them. You'll never hear about village girls. What they do, village girls, they just milk some cows, do some ghee, make some ghee, and cook. You never hear about village girls. It's like the human class that you just never hear about. Nobody hears about village girls, right? But the gopis, when Nrisimhadeva is dying, is thinking of the gopis. And the ladies in Hastinapura, they're thinking, wow, how the gopis were fortunate. So the Bhagavatam has got this nature almost as fun in reversing everything, saying everything through devotion. Vritrasura is the greatest demon, but he's the real devotee. And when he dies, he goes back home, back to God, and then Indra remains here. So the Bhagavatam kind of is meant to revolutionize our hierarchies, our mental hierarchies. What is high, what is low? Because what is high, what is low in a materialistic Vedic sense, okay, Svargaloka is high, and of course this is low. But the Bhagavatam doesn't see things like that. In fact, the Bhagavatam almost makes fun all the time of Indra, or makes him as a bad example. He tries to kill everybody in Vrindavan. He offends Brihaspati. He tries to steal the horse of Prithu. It does so many things, so many strange things. But somehow, okay, Vishnu keeps him up, okay, you're Indra, keep doing Indra things, but it's not really the hero of the Bhagavatam. The hero of the Bhagavatam are other personalities. Of course, Shukadeva Goswami, the speakers, Narada Muni, Sutta Goswami. Sutta Goswami is the main speaker of the Bhagavatam, we could say. After Vyasa, he speaks most verses. So Sutta Goswami is not even a pure Brahmana. He was the son of Ramarshana Sutta, who was not born from a pure Brahmana family. So the Bhagavatam completely challenges the whole concept, just like Yamadutas. They go there and they go and pick up Ajamil, and then the Vishnuduta come, and they didn't know who are these Vishnudutas. And the Vishnuduta said, but do you know Dharma? And then they say, yes, we know Dharma, this, that, the guy is a sinful, we have to take him. And the Vishnuduta almost make fun of them and say, hey, you don't know anything. You don't know, he chanted Hare Krishna, he chanted Narayana, you can't touch him. And then they go back completely confused, and they say, to go to Yamaraj, say, what's going on? Yamaraj explained, yeah, they were right. So it never goes to somebody who chants the holy name. Never go. Don't even apologizes. Yamaraj apologizes to the Lord. He says, sorry, we did a mistake. So, but Ajamila was a criminal from, in one sense, from almost all perspective, all points of view, all angles. But for Vishnuduta, you can't touch him. You can't touch him. So the Bhagavatam, it's a beyond what's even Vedic, considered Vedic, like even, of course, obviously, even the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita says that Veda Vadarata Aparta, there are people who think they're Vedic, but they're not Vedic, because they only want the Svargaloka, which is just temporary. and they call it Alpamedasa, people less intelligent. Krishna says, he says publicly, Alpamedasa, they're very little brain, but they're following the Vedas. Yes, they're following the Vedas, but they're stupid. They're stupid. He doesn't say maybe stupid, but they're very bewildered by the flowery message of the Vedas. So, and then, and even they say among all the yogis, one may think, oh, these yogis, they're so powerful. No, but he says, all the yogis, those who think of me, have faith in me, they're higher. I remember. Can I share, or do we need to finish?
Oh, no, sure.
See, I remember when I got my first Bhagavad Gita, I didn't know anything. So I got my first Bhagavad Gita from my sister, and it was an edition in Italian. And there were many pictures that some of them I never saw them again. Somehow they never used them again. There was a picture in which there were first a materialistic guy, very fat Indian guy with mustache, a lot of gold. Obviously, he was a materialistic guy, okay? Then there was, if I'm not mistaken, somebody reading a lot of books, big beard, okay, it's intellectual philosopher, okay. Then there was a yogi who was kind of walking on water, completely skinny, kind of the eyes up like this, was really a mystic walking on water. And there was a devotee chanting. So I didn't know anything, but I thought, no, but see, this yogi should be after, because the yogi is more than the devotee chanting. You know what I mean? You know, the guy walks on water. It must be more than somebody who just chant with musical instruments. Obviously, now I know better. But in that kind of hierarchy of values, obviously the materialist is more the law, then there's the philosopher, okay, kind of the mental platform, then there is the yogi, and then there is a devotee. Okay, the devotee may not be walking on water, but the devotee is going back to God in a few years. And the yogi, who knows, he may live 300 years, but in the material world. And next life, who knows, he may get to see the local if everything goes good, but still it's still as Abraham Arjuna. So now, at the same time, Rupa Goswami says to the devotees, to all the Gaudiyas, never disrespect the devatas. It's a principle of devotional service. So we should not think, well, we are higher and this and that. These devatas see the Lord face to face. They were there with Nrisimhadeva. They were there. They saw Nrisimhadeva. They were there. They offered. Can you imagine? Everybody's there, Brahma, Shiva, Indra, everybody. And now they're representative of the different groups speak to Nrisimhadeva. Nrisimhadeva is there. So obviously we don't have this experience, meaning we see the Lord in the form of the deity, but they saw in his appearance. But still, if you analyze a devotee who is in front of Nrisimhadeva now in Mayapur, in a few years is with Nrisimhadeva, is with Krishna, is with Radha Madhava, the spiritual world. So, but at the same time, okay, why? Because of mercy, because of a lot of mercy. So I'm not sure what is your confusion.
Confusion?
No, you say you're not clear. What is your lack of clarity?
Not confusion. I'm just perplexed. I'm just like, it's hard to believe that they know all the Vedas. They know Vedas. They know these verses not just by heart. They've seen the Lord face to face, and they still don't want to give up everything and go back to Godhead. Maybe they do. Anyway.
Well, but even give up everything, I don't know. What does it mean? I mean, they are Gandharvas, they have that body. How do you give up being a Gandharva? That's why Srila Prabhupada said, sometimes there are devatas who want to join the mission of Mahaprabhu on this earth, because 50, 60 years, you go back to God. So if you're a Gandharva, it is not going to commit suicide. Okay, you're a Gandharva, and maybe you're a pure devotee also. I don't know. I don't know what they do all day. Like the Bhagavatam doesn't give much, but maybe there is also some sense gratification. I don't know. But the point is that what does it mean to give up? For us, give up meaning, okay, you give up, you start following the four principles. For them, I don't think they have meat or fish or eggs in Gandharva Loka. I don't know. It's a different thing. So I don't know exactly how would that means that they give up everything. I don't know what that means for a Gandharva or for a Siddha. Or Siddhas are born with mystic power. You can't just switch them off, right? What does it mean? I don't know. What does it mean? They might have their own pure devotees there that will preach pure devotion. I don't know. And what that means to give up everything for a Siddha, for a Charana, for a Gandharva, for a Yaksha. I don't know.
Okay. Anyway,
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So now we have we close here, and tomorrow we continue. And tomorrow you can announce here. Do we have other devotees here? Or we can announce that. What are you going to give a new link or what?
Yeah.
Okay, so please make it clear that we don't use this link anymore.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.